Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the pre-season show. Before the season starts, Manchester City have drawn 0-0 with Borussia Dortmund in a pre-season friendly. Hang on, we're in October, aren't we? Oh, was that not pre-season?
If you were just tuning in and watching it, you'd think so.
Was that not pre-season? Oh, shit, I missed it. Where have I been for 4 months? What's going on? Good evening to everyone. Vader is here. Rich is on voice only because after that performance, he doesn't want to show his face on camera. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad. I had an afternoon nap watching that game, so I got energy.
During the game?
Yeah, it was a struggle.
Good evening to everyone in the chat. Blue Moon, Pat's in, Awais is in, FIFA's in, Blue Moon, Abdallah's here, Stephen Dempsey and Sir Alan Miserable Mancunian has joined us as well. Hope we are all good. So let's get the positives out of the way. Manchester City have finished top of Group G with a game to spare, and Borussia Dortmund are going to join us in the last 16 of the Champions League. Woo! Get in for the world's best cup competition. Anyone want to like back up on that? Or, you know?
No. That was not an example or an exhibition to promote this as the best club competition at all. Many of the matches today. Now, I'm not just referring to the City match, but many matches at this stage do not promote this tournament well.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think that the rules of the competition make days like today happen, because this was almost like Austria-Germany in the 1982 World Cup. Two teams know that a 0-0 draw suits them both, don't have to extend themselves, both go through. It's a win-win situation, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they've got a rule in place that effectively means there's no real incentive for going for it, and there's no, throwing things to the last week. And it'll happen in like Barcelona's group, an absolute schmozzle. If it wasn't for this rule about the head-to-head, you'd be going into the last couple of games. Barca might have real incentive to win. There'd be real jeopardy until the last game. But because of this rule, Barcelona basically know they're probably out before they even kick a football, because Inter Milan can beat Pilsen 1-0 and they're through, no matter what Barcelona does against Munich or what happens in the last games. There's no incentive. So, this is just UEFA stupidity. And I'm not going to complain too much about the game. We wanted a 0-0 draw, and we got a 0-0 draw, and we didn't try very hard doing it.
Yeah, I mean, what I'll do is I'm just going to run through the teams. If anyone does want to know what the teams were this evening, Manchester City went there and lined up with Ortega in the goal, not Ederson, John Stones, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake and Cancelo, Riyad Mahrez, Rodri, Gundogan, Foden, Haaland and Alvarez. Now, the bench, obviously, which was used this evening, was Grealish, Laporte, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Akanji, Ederson, Carson, Cole Palmer and Rico Lewis alongside Wilson Esprand. Any issues? Vader, we'll start with you. Team, any issues with that, mate, before kick-off?
No, I mean, I really didn't have any issues because, again, when we talked, was it just yesterday? When we talked yesterday and we're trying to guess what Pep's going to do, who's he going to rest, we went from thinking that he would rest Silva to resting KDB to I don't even know if we didn't suspect that he was going to rest Haaland, but we were all over the place. So I didn't really get Sorry about that. I didn't really get worked up with what I saw in terms of the starting 11. But what made it exciting or interesting was to see how they were going to play. I just needed to see how he was going to put this 11 together and see how they were going to play. But I wasn't stressing at that 11. I really wasn't.
Alan is. Alan's having a right meltdown here. First half, tactics were wrong, this were wrong, that were wrong. Right, can I just get to everyone's attention? Come here. Come a bit close to the camera. Everyone. Bit of breaking news here. Manchester City were already through before we hit tonight. What's the meltdown about? Sorry, come on. Listen, I heard it at half time. Change the system. Get this player on. Get that player on. For what? We're playing at 12:30 on Saturday. What, you want KDB to come on and start running round and pull an injury or something, and then he's out for the Leicester game? Come on. Let's use our noggin a little bit.
No, you're right.
You want to win every game, but it's not FIFA.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right in terms of like maybe the reaction to what they were seeing on the pitch, but part of that's to be given when you see the number of changes, right? Especially when there's no Silva, there's no KDB, but I don't know. Like I said, I was watching it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to anyone on the panel. I'm not gonna lie to anyone in the comments. I was dozing off. I was dozing off.
Rich.
Yep.
Patrick has said it was like family stand football tonight. I mean, I don't know what teletext football is like for Pat or remote control football is like for Pat. But sorry, I had to go there. It's a little dig. Not at anyone who's not at games. That was just a dig at Patrick because he wants to call my stand. Sorry, family stand football. Kiss my rear end. I'm only joking. This is not Martin attacking anyone who doesn't go to games before, someone clips it and starts everything else. Patrick's put out both teams play like there was a gentleman's agreement. You've sent me something tonight, Rich. Do you want to tell everyone what it is? What I've always said as well for the past few weeks as well.
About what? The Bellingham?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I don't think you get gentleman's agreement like that, but I think Dortmund weren't through. They needed a point to go through. City needed a point to win the group and were through. So Dortmund have a go at City and City win. Seville win. Dortmund have got potential. Or was it Copenhagen? I can't remember which way, but that there was potential that they needed a point. So I think Bellingham probably is going to City from the whispers going around and things like that. But I don't think that would affect a game. I just think that both teams were going to be happy with a draw. And the easiest way to get a draw is not scoring. And it happened years, when I was a kid, I think it was the 1982 World Cup, Austria and Germany played out a 0-0 draw that meant they both went through and Poland went out. And neither team tried a shot on goal in the whole game. And they actually changed the World Cup rules so that all final matches were played at the same time in a group after that to stop it. So to me, it just felt like that. Two teams.
Sorry, Rich. Did you say in 1982 when you were a kid? You were a kid in 1982. Give over.
I was. And
you were 30.
I was what?
You were 30 years old in 1982. Give over, Rich.
Cheeky sod. So, but that's the thing, and I think that's what happened, and I think that's why the head-to-head outcome is wrong, because if you didn't have that head-to-head outcome and Dortmund won, then City would have to win the last week, and Dortmund could go for a big win to win the group, and there'd be some jeopardy. But the head-to-head meant that City just didn't want. If City didn't lose, we finish ahead of them, and that's kind of wrong. It just,
You've got a point there,
Well, Bayern's group, it has absolutely killed the group, because with 2 games to go, Inter Milan know if they beat Pilsen 1-0, and Pilsen have lost all 4 games. If they beat Pilsen 1-0, they finish ahead of Barcelona, regardless of whether Inter get hammered by Bayern or Barcelona go and win at Bayern. And that again is wrong. It's just
Okay then, Rich.
Stupidity in an entertainment.
I'm going to ask both this later and you. Do Seville have a bit of a case to be a bit pissed off this evening?
In what way? In what way? Because the argument gets the problem is the argument gets flipped with they didn't handle their business in the previous match.
No, I know that. I know that. And this is why it's very hard to always throw that out. And I get it. I'm just saying it will be thrown out by some probably Seville fans of, well, those teams didn't really try tonight. Let's be totally honest. They didn't really try. And if one of them wins or, City beat Dortmund, we've still got a sneaky chance of getting through if things go our way and we do a job at the Etihad.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? Seville might be thinking, well, it kind of was still in our hands. We could have gone to City, who were already through, top of the group, probably going to play the kids. We can go there under a new manager
but I think,
and have a go. Or am I just conspiracy theory here?
No, it's a good point, but I think go ahead, Rich.
That's the rules.
That's what I'm saying, Rich. I'm backing your point up. The rules are an arse.
UEFA is stupid because UEFA is essentially in, I think, 3 or 4 of the groups because of this rule. There's probably going to be dead rubbers in games 5 and 6 that don't need to be dead rubbers. There's groups where games that should have been the biggest group of the Champions League, Inter Bayern and Barca Bayern should have been huge games, and they count for absolutely nothing because if Inter beat Pilsen, Barca Bayern and Bayern Inter and nothing games. So you've got 2 games that should be being watched all over the world, huge impact and everything else. And no one's going to watch them because you've got Barcelona Bayern and it's a friendly. Or maybe it matters for Barca getting into the Europa League. But I think they're already in the Europa League because of the way Pilsen played. So it's just stupid. And then the last game of our group, you could have had a big City, City-Seville game where if Seville win, they go through. But you don't. Instead, you have Seville, playing for, I guess they probably need likely don't even need a draw to get in the Europa League, and City already sold the group up. So you have a friendly warm up game.
Yeah.
Hey, I can't wait. I can't wait for next Wednesday. Sit down and watch that. That's it. That'll be great.
Unfortunately, there's no getting around it though. There's no getting around it because.
Why would you even watch it? It's a game. It is.
Of course, I'm watching it. I bought my tickets, Rich.
It's less value than a pre-season friendly, though.
Rich, I'm going. I've told you I'll go and watch the grass grow at the Etihad. I ain't asked. I'll go. Yeah, I'll enjoy it.
I'd rather watch the grass grow at the Etihad than.
No, don't do that, guys. Don't do that. You got to go watch because
he's doing it.
You got to watch to see because again, it's not going to be our main starting 11 or our key guys that get subbed on. So I think it's an opportunity to see the young kids, the kids that weren't getting the minutes, possibly getting a full 90, which we don't look at the result, we look at the performance.
Do you know what? And that's what I'm looking forward to. Seeing Palmer, seeing Luis Esprand, seeing Rico Lewis from the off next week. That is where I'll get the enjoyment out of it next week.
But you cannot judge, or you won't see a performance in a non-competitive game. That's the problem. You won't see them playing free play.
Still worth money, Rich.
There's no jeopardy. Even the Carabao Cup, there's jeopardy in it. You don't win, you go out.
Is there not money to it though, Rich? Because they get paid a hell of a lot when they win in Champions League per game.
Oh, you might get they might get a few $100,000 for winning, but the most of the money is in winning the group, not in necessarily performance. So, and I don't know. I just think it's what is wrong with the Champions League is these last 2 rounds of football. It's wrong.
Okay. Go on, Rich. Finish off, mate, and then I want to get into some of the comments because we've got a few questions that are quite intriguing. I want to get to you two, actually.
You shouldn't have things set up for non-competitive football that doesn't matter with no jeopardy. You know,
FIFA says, oh, go on, Rich. I thought you'd finished, mate. My apologies.
Yeah, finished. I have.
Yeah. FIFA's come out and said if Pep knew Haaland and Cancelo had a fever, that's what's come out after the game. Pep has said Haaland and Cancelo went off at half time because they both had fevers today and yesterday. Should they have played, really?
No. Definitely not.
It depends on the severity. Like a fever could just be, I don't know if you guys are Celsius or Fahrenheit, but if it's, I think testing them to see whether they could play, obviously it couldn't have been that severe. Being so precautionary as well as to pull them off makes sense. I think it's being cautious, not necessarily, ooh, this is dangerous, but yeah, I mean we've all dealt with a slight fever and it hasn't been crushing. So
can I ask Scotty Moles asked the question? Well, it's a statement. And I want to be careful how I word this because I said something in the summer about this kid. When everyone was hyping. The next Aguero, going to score 30 goals, blah, 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 blah. And I said, just relax. Let the kid come in from South America and adapt. Let him have a year of adaptation. I had Alan messaging me on WhatsApp telling me he's going to be the next thing since Messi. He was amazing. He's this, that, and the other. And I said, just relax. Let the kid settle. Scotty Moles but Alvarez was pretty ineffectual tonight. Do you know what? I tend to agree with him.
He was played in a weird position in a weird way, though. I don't think he was played.
How was he playing different to the other players?
I don't know.
Listen, I'm not calling him out. I'm not saying he's crap.
Play him like that.
But he's had chances now to start
he just
against lower teams, and he's not turned up.
As high up the pitch, his average position was far lower. Was far further back. He was,
Yeah, I think Rich got cut out a little bit. I think he was shadowing Haaland for a little bit. I think he was like kind of creeping over to the right hand side. He wasn't playing obviously at striker with Haaland on there, but. Yeah, I mean, we do need to be extremely patient with him. We can see that he's young on the pitch. We can see that he's trying to make an impact. He's trying to put on a show, and at times it's not working out for him. But he's extremely young, and I think because of the surrounding quality on this club, it's doing him a disservice just slightly because he just needs to get up to speed and understand what Pep's asking for him. But for the matches that, sorry, go ahead, Rick.
When he got into good positions, like he got himself into positions, and there was some pretty lazy passing from City. I mean, I know we didn't have our, De Bruyne on and stuff, but I thought at times Alvarez, he was playing deeper than he probably would most of the time, and he seemed to be popping up in midfield. And B, when he did get in positions, Mahrez. A few lazy passes, and we didn't have De Bruyne there. So I don't know. I don't think anyone up front played well. I'm not looking at that and thinking, anyone was fantastic. I mean, the highlight of the game was Hummel's double, save tackle on Haaland.
Yeah, I mean, can I just say before anyone thinks I'm going in. I'm not going in on Alvarez. Sorry, Vegas just had to drop for family reasons. And I'm not sat here having a go at Alvarez. Veta will be back. I'm not here having a go at Alvarez. I'm just saying is that can we just calm down, let the lads settle? Feel like I'm on repeat. Let him settle the first year into European football. Let him just relax. Let him adapt. Real big time here. Rich, Ortega.
Yeah.
One, was you surprised he was in? Number two, people have suggested in the chat that he should start on Saturday against Leicester.
I think I've actually been pretty gobsmacked by how many City fans I don't think understand City at all. And, talking about dropping Ortega after that game, the single most important moment of the Brighton game, and the moment that was the difference between us winning the game and not winning that game, was Ederson's long pass to Haaland. By far the pivotal moment of the whole match. We were not breaking them down. They were a good side, and Ederson unlocked the game. And that moment was far, far, far more important than a sloppy save where, he was a bit unsighted and went, over the ball. And I don't know. I just think fans calling for Ederson to get dropped just can't tactically watch or understand the way City play. So, no, Ortega shouldn't play on Saturday.
Was there a reason why you think he's played tonight, just to give him a go?
I think he played tonight for the same reason that De Bruyne and Bernardo and Akanji and, didn't play. And, I think that Pep saw that as probably the least important game between now and the World Cup, apart from Seville, obviously, if that doesn't matter. I think Pep wants us to go and win our league match at the weekend. And, I think he knows Ortega's get a game. But I think the fact that, that's probably the first, probably about the first time, Ederson has not started in a game which the fans might have considered important since he's been here pretty much. I mean, you could count on one hand. And I think it's because of that. And I think that was an important game. There is no way Bernardo would have been on the bench. That was an important game. There's no way De Bruyne would have been dropped. Akanji and Laporte. I honestly think Pep probably took 6 of the first team out to rest them for the games building up in the league in the next couple of weeks. And, giving him a game, it's a good idea. Ortega might not go to the World Cup, or probably won't go to the World Cup. Ederson will. So getting Ortega a bit of football in now is useful, because who knows what will happen at the World Cup.
Yeah. Well, that sort of answers that one, really. I mean, a few of them now said, like I said, Blue House made a good point. It's class for Pep to start him tonight. It's good to see that he does get some minutes. Blue Moon's put Ederson was awful against Brighton. I don't think he was awful, Blue Moon.
But I think that just missed up the most important moment of that Brighton game was Ederson's ball to Haaland. That is what unlocked the game. That is what Pep asked for, and he did it. Ederson wasn't great on that goal. Apart from that, he was fine.
Listen, do I think he made a mistake for the Trossard goal? Yes. There's one thing I will say, though. He was a bit off with his kicking. I'll grant you that. No, I'll grant you that. But it's come out that 1 minute, Rich. It come out that he had a little bit of a hip niggle, a bit of a hip sort of concern, not a major one, a little one, which may have contributed to it. But the thing is to say, listen, I respect your opinion, Blue Moon. Disagree with it totally, because I think, like Rich is spot on. Take Ederson out of that team, we don't score that opening goal on Saturday. Also go back, yes, he made a boo-boo for the Trossard goal, but then look later on, I think we were either 2-1 or 3-1. I think, was it Trossard again, Rich, who got through when he ran right past the Akanji? And who was there to make the save at his near post was Ederson.
And I think that's the thing.
He made an important save as well. So to say he was awful, I think it's a bit extreme when he's done a match-saving save and assisted a goal.
Yeah, and I think without Ederson getting us that goal, and we did not look like we were going to get through in any other way. It was man on man, and that game that was what opened up the game for City. It enabled us to get a foothold and get the second goal. And I think without Ederson in goal and that ability to do that, we might not have won the game. So to turn around and, you know, want to drop him because of a goal that didn't matter when he was key to a goal that really did matter, just to me, again, it seems to not understand City and what the way we play, and how Ederson is, you know, incredibly important in nearly every goal we score and every build up, you know, and you know, it's almost like art will throw away all of that because he might save 3 or 4 goals a season. Well, another goalkeeper is a great shot stopper. We might score 25 fewer goals. Yes, they might save 5 more, but that's 20 goals worse, and that'll cost us points. And yeah, so I think we just have to put up with the fact he's not a world-class shot stopper, because that's not what he's supposed to be. He's an outfield player. And
Yeah, but the thing is, Rich, you have Neuer who makes mistakes. Alisson makes mistakes. Mendes for Chelsea made mistakes. Kepa has been in and out, in and out. He's going through a sort of boom period at the minute.
Most of those aren't half as good at Ederson out in terms of outfield play anyway. I mean, like Mendy.
Look at Courtois. Courtois has his moments. This, to me, take Ederson out of our team, forget Pep ball. Ederson is what Pep ball makes. Ederson makes our Pep ball tick.
Yeah,
absolutely does. You take Ederson out, forget the Pep system. It don't work.
And Ederson,
you need a proper sweeper keeper.
Ederson was able to open up Brighton when 10 outfield players weren't for most of the game. So, you know, that's just the way it is. And, you know, if people want to look at City in the lens of a traditional goalkeeper and thinking a goalkeeper is only about making saves, then yeah, we can go and get someone who's brilliant shot stopper.
I mean, listen, Blue Moon, you have your opinion, and I get it. But here's a question for you: who do you want in net then? And don't say Ortega. Name me a better goalkeeper than him right now that allows us to do Pep ball.
But you know,
the thing is, just 1 minute, Rich, you have Cancelo, who can't defend, but we accept that he can't defend because of what he brings going forward. To play Pep Guardiola football in the formation, in everything that we do, players are going to make mistakes. That is just simple fact of it. There is not a sweeper key. Find me a goalie that is good with his feet and his hands. And I'll tell you what, you will not find one hardly around. Neuer was as close as you were going to get to it, and he made errors. Yeah. I remember Neuer 20 years ago, whenever it was, in the Champions League, don't need to remember this, Rich, he comes out to the sort of just before the halfway line, misses the ball and gets lobbed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they do.
But that's okay because it's Neuer. It's just what happens. Yeah, and believe me, yes, he should have saved the goal against Brighton, but he made a goal against Brighton and he saved the other Trossard shots.
Yeah, so I just think it's...
That's all I'm saying.
I think we have to accept he's going to make mistakes. You know, we've seen it, you know, Alisson made 3 or 4 against City in one game, who's, you know, probably the closest in the Premier League to being you know, a keeper like that. And then you look at shot stoppers like Lloris and De Gea, they make bloody loads of mistakes, and they're not even 20% as effective going forward as Ederson. I mean,
I think we've got to calm down with the Ederson, because the problem is, listen, we accept he has faults. I've said all last year, and Rich, you did, that there were shots he probably should save that he doesn't. That can be eradicated on a training ground. But as I've just said, for a Pep system, how many times has Cancelo, for example, or Kyle Walker, for example, this year when he's played, made errors in their defensive roles? So what Pep does is, there's a reason why Pep puts Nathan Ake generally next to Cancelo when he's at left back to cover the mistakes.
Ederson's like Raheem Sterling was, in a way. You know, people completely focus on, I know Raz at the end, you know, he knew his time was up and he wasn't, you know, trying as much, whatever. But Sterling was incredibly effective for City. He played a huge part in, many, many goals and many, many important goals and huge wins and great teams. But because he missed a few sitters, people got obsessed with thinking about that. And, sometimes he may have set up 2 goals and we've won 3-0 and people were obsessing about the one he missed from 2 yards out. And I think there's a danger with Ederson that people try and almost dumb down the game and look at something really simple and try and use that to judge a player rather than their role in a team and, the importance in, I read a stat somewhere that, Ederson played a part in well over something like 120 of our goals last year. He played a part in the move. And probably the only ones he didn't were ones that came from centres or, plays been stopped, free kick or whatever. So he is vital to it. And our defence, concedes not many goals, and it's not because it's not because of phenomenal shot stopping or anything. It's because collectively they keep the ball and they stop opponents getting many chances. And so often, and when opponents get a chance, they're normally, and I'm not saying this for Trossard, they're normally very, very strong chances because, they might be through on goal or it might be 6 yards out, because our whole game is based on, stopping chances and keeping possession.
Spot on. Can I just say, there's 40 of you on right now live. Give it a thumbs up, and if you can hit that subscribe button, that'd be amazing. Big thank you. Because the more people who interact and are live and liking it and subscribe, the more people come in on the live streams. Bloom, we're going to bring you back in a minute, Beto, on this little debate that suddenly got going. Blue Moon, you said Joe Hart's a great keeper. Totally agree with you, mate. But Joe Hart couldn't play Pep football. Because as a City fan, you should know yourself that what was the one thing we all bitched and complained about with Joe Hart is distribution. Because he'd save the ball and then kick it out of play and give them possession right back for the throw-in. That doesn't help Pep Guardiola football. Doesn't help it. So, listen, I keep saying this. You can't have a great shot stopper and then a great distributor as well. Doesn't work. Just, you can't. It's like digging for gold. They're like rocking our shit. Rare as anything.
Yeah, you might be able to, but it's like signing Messi or something.
Exactly. You just won't get it. So sadly, we had to sort of not neglect, but let the shot stopping bit go a little bit because we needed a keeper that would suit Pep's style. Joe Hart, as much as he was, did not suit Pep Guardiola's style of football. Fact. Simple fact of it. And the statistics back that up. Because most of the time when he distributed the ball, it was out of play. We all said with his left foot, he couldn't kick. He was throwing the ball. But when he played in that Steaua Bucharest game, he threw the ball out of play 3 times. Even though we won, and it was a great night for him, Pep Guardiola threw his arms up in the air 3 times going, I don't know what to do now. Because he threw the ball out of play 3 times. That is no good for a Pep system that starts out from the back. As much as he's a City legend, and he always will be, and one of my favourite ever players, I've met the fella, such a lovely player, just didn't suit the manager's style.
I think it's we've got that with all the with the defence. It has to be high risk because our ability to break through teams depends on our thinking, our movement, our passing being too fast, too crisp, too complicated for the opposition team, so that we can get through them and score goals. And I think that's the reality. Sometimes and Ederson's coolness and his absolute calmness sometimes does lead to mistakes, but very often it leads to breaks and goals and unlocking games by moving fast from the back. So I think we just live with it, and I guess we'll just have to put up with people on Facebook or wherever posting about Ederson every time he doesn't make a spectacular save, and you almost just have to nod and smile because we know that we're not going to go and bring in some phenomenal shot stopper who can't pass and totally change the way we play football just to save a few goalkeeping errors a season.
We're just talking about, obviously, people are saying they would keep Ortega in net on Saturday.
Okay, well,
Vader's done this debate so many times.
This is what's frustrating, and I think it maybe it's just a part of human nature. Ederson's doing so many other things so well that it's being taken for granted, so that when he does something wrong, it's exaggerated and it's blown out of proportion. I'll be the first to admit he isn't the perfect shot stopper, but he's way better than most. He's way better than most. We're not holding our breath with every shot that's put on net. That's not the case with Ederson. He is of quality. Now, I think where we're becoming so accustomed to what he does with his footwork that we don't see how of great quality it is, because what he allows us to do, he allows us to catch our breath in many instances, whether it's defending or attacking, because there's no stoppage or there's no racing back to get to him to be another ball playing defender or midfielder because of his distribution. He creates so much more for us in terms of allowing us to actually use the entire pitch. Another thing too is he really doesn't have a weakness whether it's left or right. I know he's predominantly a left footer, but he can play with both feet. So then the pitch is also symmetrical. We can do what we do on the left, and we can do what we do on the right. Some of the fans, and again, to Rich's point, that are on Twitter, they're on Facebook, that are quick to kill him, we are just going to have to accept it, because for us and how we watch the game, for those that attend the games, we know that he does more, and it's the more for why he's important. Another keeper can't do everything that he does, and we're gonna be complaining about, to Martin's point, then we're going to be complaining about some of the distribution that we're getting from this player. Oh, that we're getting the shot stopping, but
with that. 1 minute there, I do disagree with that, Scotty Mold, because I've seen Alisson mess up so many times.
Absolutely, you press Alisson from his left-hand side, he panics. Look at the goals they conceded in, and I think we have a fantastic highlight from Foden.
He's a good goalie, but he's not.
He is.
Respectfully, Scotty Mold, I do disagree with
that. He played a part in 3 City goals at Anfield 2 years ago.
Exactly right.
Your comment out of context there. Let me know though, mate.
Exactly right. Now there's no perfect keeper. There's keepers that have had an amazing year in form, and Ederson's been one of those as well. We are going to play to his strengths, and as a team, that's what we do. We minimize weaknesses from our other players, and we play to our strengths as an entire club. I honestly would not trade Ederson because, and again, if we just need the example to what he did to Haaland, and he's done that previously. He's done that for Gundogan. He's done that for Aguero. That's why we need him. He forces the opposition to have to worry about the ball at his feet. That tires out a defense. They can't rest. They can't relax. And I love that about him.
I'm just going to read a couple of comments out, and then we're going to move on to Mahrez, and then we'll start wrapping up. Blue Mindy said, Grealish, I said last season he wouldn't cut the mustard, etc., but I was told give him time. Looks like I'm going to be right. He'll be back at Villa next year, hopefully. Don't agree with that either. We're not agreeing a lot at the moment.
Wow, I don't know about that one, Blue Moon.
Grealish is a funny one because, to me, Grealish has probably got himself into playing as well as he's played at City, and then just, when people are calling for him to be in the team, he suddenly gets dropped. So, it is a bit bizarre,
Can I just bring up a comment? Blue Heart has made a great one, and I don't think enough was said about this last week. I mentioned it on my watch along for the 6 people who joined us. Big thank you. No, that is big thank you to the 6 who did join. But yeah, Ederson is the best keeper in the world, and people want. No, sorry, not that one. Where is it? There it is. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Blue Heart wrote it. Where is it? 1 minute, Blue Heart. His save from the Salah effort was as good as anything Alisson did in the game. That, to me, is save of the season. And I am not blowing smoke up the guy's ass. That last season, it wasn't the referee missed it. A lot of the fans missed it. If you go back and look at it, Ederson gets fingertips on it.
Yeah.
And puts it wide. And everyone ignored it. Everybody. It never got mentioned on Match of the Day. Never got mentioned by Sky. It got mentioned by nobody. Everyone missed it because it wasn't given as a corner.
Yeah, no, I saw lots of things saying that from Scouser saying it was a save, and
it was a world class save.
Goal shouldn't have ever been a chance to be a goal because it was never a goal kick, it was a corner. And so the Scousers were whinging about it. Although they were whinging about it, not pointing out what a bloody good save it was.
Yeah. They're just justifying why Haaland shouldn't have been rewarded the penalty on the other end. Yeah, I remember that.
Anyway, Blue Moon's bored of a few people, so he's going to depart. Hey, listen, we ain't your cup of tea. We ain't your cup of tea. It's all opinions. We don't all have to agree, but we can all respect each other.
I think Blue Moon might be Alan's grumpy twin brother.
No, I've got a feeling who I think it is, Rich. I'll tell you off there, mate. Anyway, Mahrez.
He's a player without confidence right now, unfortunately. He's a player.
City broke another record tonight, by the way, gentlemen.
What
Anyone
was
guess
it?
what that is? Rich? Right? Anyone?
Oh, most away clean sheets.
Nope. I never said it was a good record.
Why
do you all immediately go to a good record?
No, I reckon most penalties missed in a calendar year.
Most penalties missed in the season so far. Right. In the Premier League. 25, I think it is, out of the last, I think it's 80 odd penalties. Something daft like that. 48% anyway. Under Pep Guardiola, since he's been at Manchester City, has been missed.
Well, he actually, he commented about that in one of his things.
Yes, he has. He's mentioned it after the game as well.
We needed someone who can score penalties.
Do we not practice penalties in training? I mean, I know people are going to say it's such a little thing, but do we not? Because to me, when I managed, I practiced penalties every week at the end. Did it at the end of training, but we did it.
Yeah.
I think they do practice penalties, and Mahrez has probably taken...
Give over, Rich.
You
don't. Not to miss as many as they have.
He's taken thousands of penalties in his life, and just, we've had 3 great penalty takers in... Well, actually, I'll say 2, because Haaland probably is a great penalty taker, but he's only had a couple. But we had Balotelli and Yaya. But it's not about... I bet you Balotelli practiced penalties about 10% as much as Mahrez has. I just think it's a mentality thing.
You know, I could see Balotelli practicing. I could see that's the only thing Balotelli practiced.
I can't imagine him practicing anything, to be fair.
Well, Balotelli brought that hesitation, right? He brought that hesitation to the penalty shot that's now being altered and mimicked with the hot step from Jorginho and all that kind of stuff. But I think it is. I think it's just a confidence thing. Like watching back, I had the privy of seeing the angle right behind Mahrez when he took that penalty, and he did not pick a spot. He almost kicked it center of the goal. Like that's a shot taken from a player that doesn't have the confidence, and not only that, he kicked it on the left side, on his left, for the second time.
Yeah.
Third time actually, because the first time he scored, second time it got saved in the Copenhagen match, and now it got saved again.
Yeah, and I bet there was something bizarre about the penalty today. There was a woman in the crowd who jumped up to celebrate the save about a second before everyone else. So maybe it was, a glitch in the program.
Can I just say, give over. Right, can I just say, Rich, what the hell?
Thomas, we've got one player who was on the pitch today who's taken a penalty in a competitive match for City, not missed. Why wasn't he taking the penalty? Why do we go to someone who misses penalties and not someone with 100%?
Why have you just blamed as a woman sat behind the stand doing something to put him off?
No, not putting him off. She celebrated a second early, so she knew before time it was going to be a save. Therefore, it must be a matrix or something.
She was a time traveler.
Looking at the crowd behind rather than the penalty. That's what I want to know.
Because they showed the penalty from the front, and they show. So she was behind the keeper, so it's not. She wasn't to put you off, but she celebrated a second early.
I mean, Rich Files instead of X Files. Rich Files.
Alan's put surely Pep has to say. No, he doesn't, Alan. There's two things Pep does when it comes to captaincy and it comes to things on the pitch. He allows the players to make those decisions.
Yeah, and you have to.
Openly. Says it openly.
And you have to. You have to because it's a flow of the game. It's players at their confidence. It's players. It's kind of like when at the end of the match and you look to say who's going to take this shootout. Right? The players that make eye contact and volunteer. You go with that type of energy, and that's what you need. And he wanted it. He just didn't execute. And now another player is going to have to step up and obviously take it from him because I don't think they're going to have the confidence in him for the next one.
Yeah, well, I think they need, our only 100% record penalty taker, Welsh Rodri needs to be back taking penalties again.
Well, Blue Moon's back, and I totally agree with you, mate. It is all about opinions, and it would be boring. Andy Blue Moon, out for tonight's lineup, not as good as I think they are. And I think that was just the way the state of the game, state of play. It was don't want to say nothing game, but it was at best a testimonial.
Question for everyone though, right? If you need a 0-0 draw, why would anyone complain with a 0-0 draw?
No, and like I said, I think it was all prearranged. We've got a lovely little relationship with Dortmund. You get us through, get us a bit more money, and you can have Jude Bellingham nice and cheap. Simple and easy.
Oh my gosh! Viewers, I do not co-sign that theory at all. Don't associate me with that.
I am on this Bellingham hype train. I am driving the bastard always down that street. I am driving Bellingham to City.
I see that. I think
it was what we wanted. It was the result we wanted. Funnily enough, on the early bets, the result I thought would happen because of this exact reason. I just thought it is a game where a draw suits both sides, and the easiest way to get a draw is 0-0 because then you don't have to let the other side score afterwards. So it just was, and both couple of subs, rest a few players, get some football in the legs, and then focus on more important games. And can both pack up next midweek because they're through. They don't have to worry about that game. So it really, a 0-0 draw meant two easy games for City and Dortmund. Meant they both go through, suited them both, and I don't know why anyone's surprised.
No, I'm not. Patrick said, do they still practice witchcraft in Wales, Rich?
Do they still what?
Practice witchcraft in Wales, mate.
Well, they do in some parts, but it's Celtic witchcraft.
By the way, I want to know why Patrick's not inviting me back onto the early birds. Do you know what I mean? How rude. He gets record ratings when I'm on, and then I've not been asked back. Do you know what I mean? It's just terrible. You want Rich and his dogs on.
When you're involved, we lose.
Oh, we do not. Hang on. No, we don't. Don't start throwing that one out. I blame your dogs. Christo B.
Was through the centenary season.
Christo B says Ortega class tonight.
Got to agree. For a man that's thrown in, obviously he hasn't played much for us. He was asked to do very similar things that we ask of Ederson. I can't say that he really provided a bad ball. He made some key saves as well. Made himself big on one of the stops with a shot on net inside the 18. No, he's quality. I can't say anything poor of him. I mean, it's one of those where I think we'll see him again. Obviously, we'll see him in that final game for the Champions League.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll definitely play next week.
It would be good to see a bit more because one thing, Stefan had his meltdown at Wembley, but I kind of feel that when you only get 2 or 3 games over a season, and then you come in for an important game, it's very, very hard to be used to the team and play sharp. So I think it would be beneficial for City if we do get Ortega. I'm not dropping Ederson and not necessarily for big games, but I do think he could do with having a dozen games behind him in the season, or 12 or 15 games. So if he is needed for a semi-final of an FA Cup, or Ederson gets injured at the end of the season, we bring in a keeper who is somewhat gelled with the team. Because when Stefan came in, he looked like he'd won a KFC competition and had just was thrown into the team and just looked completely shell-shocked. And then a couple of mistakes which are inevitable when you're in that position, and his confidence was just smashed, and he had to go elsewhere to rebuild. So I hope Ortega's managed a bit better than Stefan.
Yeah, I mean, can I just say, who else noticed? If anyone else did notice the Bonnie Tyler chat for 5 minutes tonight, I just muted him. I got bored of him. When he started talking about 27 verses of Bonnie Tyler's song, I gave up. I thought you could tell the game had gone at that point when he's talking about what the bleeding crowd was singing. Do you know what I mean? It's like your game's that boring. You're listening intently to what the crowd are now singing word for word.
Yeah, I hope you're not slagging off another wonderful Welsh songstress there, Martin.
Oh, give over.
The pride of Abertawe.
There you are. I know you've got to shoot, mate. Thank you so much. Go and give this legend a subscribe and a like. When are you back live, mate? Do you want to tell anyone, or have you got any shows planned?
I'm hoping to do a show tomorrow that'll be obviously a portion recap and a little preview going into the weekend. No promises. The kids' school schedules kind of messed me up a little bit, but I will have a show. Please follow me on Twitter so you know when I'm live, or if you subscribe, you'll get that notification. But thanks for having me on, Martin. Thanks for the analysis, Rich, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah, we managed to do another hour later on a 0-0 draw in the Champions
League. I know. Quality, man. You don't get this anywhere else.
You're getting good at this, aren't we? Dragging out a 0-0. Hey, and it's not meant to repeat. It's actually good shit. Never mind.
Quality. Thanks, guys.
Take care, mate. Go and give us legend. Anyway, Rich, we're going to wrap up in a minute. We'll just do our closing arguments, mate, because I know you're out and about. Yeah. Mark Armstrong, as long as the Dippers are happy, it's their cup. Yeah, they're having a bit of a meltdown at the moment, if you read a lot of them. FSG in, FSG out. They can't make the bloody mind up. I mean, to say, simple fact is we're through. We're top of the group. Now, I'm not going to go through the permutations of who Manchester City are going to face. Me, Rich, and Ozzy will go through that on Thursday night, Rich.
Yep.
We'll go through that on Thursday night, mate, where Rich has got his lovely face back on screen for you all.
Yeah, I've had my teeth whitened and I've had laser surgery on my eyes, so I'll be in good nick.
Yeah. So, listen, it's 0-0. We didn't get any injuries apart from a couple of fevers. We've had a great evening. Sit you through, top of the group. Thank you all for joining us. Give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see. Oh, I am on Fox's TV. I will send the link out on my Twitter tomorrow. Keep an eye on that, 8:30. in the evening. I'll send out the link and everything. So keep an eye on that for 8:30 tomorrow. Cheerio all.